All horror films stick to generic conventions in order to make their film genre horror. Some horror films may try and alter some of these codes and conventions in order to be postmodern, but generally, the codes and conventions of horror films are as follows. The lighting in this scene is dark, with backlight used to make the character stand out in the dark room. Dark lighting is conventional to the genre as it creates an intense atmosphere. An over-the-shoulder shot is used to show where she is going. It also makes you feel as if you were there, stood behind her. The clothes worn in this scene are either dark or bright, suggesting that the characters are average people. The scene is set in a house, which also suggests they are average people. The camera then follows her into the bedroom, where the key lighting is on the wardrobe, making it stand out. A close-up shot shows her reaction to the wardrobe doors opening. Close-up shots are also regularly used in horror, to show the reaction or feelings of a character without any spoken dialogue. This makes the audience tense to see her reaction. The sound from the clap builds up and adds suspense. Sudden loud noises are conventional to the genre as they make the audience jump, which is what horrors do. Off-screen space is used when the character is looking in the wardrobe. This adds suspense and makes the audience tense. Backlight is used again in the scene to highlight the character and make her stand out in the dark room. Off-screen space is used to add suspense and keep the audience guessing. Another over-shoulder shot is used to give enigma and add mystery. It also emphasizes to where she is pointing to and makes the audience anticipate what is going to happen next. Ambient sound of breathing adds tension, and the sound getting louder adds suspense. This is conventional to the genre, as horror films often use ambient sounds to build up a dramatic scene and create a climax. The costume in this scene is nightwear, which shows the time of day. This is conventional to the genre, as a lot of horror films are set at night, so it is dark with minimal lighting. The lighting is dark in the house and backlight is used on the main character. This is the key lighting in the scene as most of the room is dark. Shot of man stood alone adds suspense and makes the audience anticipate. This is also shown with a shot of a woman walking away from him. This makes a man seem vulnerable and weak if attacked. He is in danger. Shot of doorway, then of man, shows he is wondering why the house is deserted. Close-up of a doorway makes the audience wonder if something is behind it and adds tension. Another close-up of door shows animal heads. This gives the audience a clue of what is going to happen. Close-up shot of man looking back at woman makes the audience believe he is going to leave her to do something. Close-up of Leatherface and weapon in hand creates terror. This is conventional to the genre as props are often used. However, the costume of the character, shirt, tie and pants, is regularly normal and isn't very conventional to the genre. Shot of man's injuries adds shock and makes the audience startled. Shot of door closing and sudden loud noise shows it is over, but also makes the audience wonder what is going to happen next. Key lighting is sunrise, showing that the scene is set early morning. This is not often used in horror films, as most scenes are shot at night when it is dark. A wide shot is used to show the characters running, which adds suspense. Wide shots are often used to show setting in horrors, and also to show where the character is stood in the room and how far they are from escaping. It also shows how far the characters have to run, which adds tension as the audience wants them to escape. Shot from inside the truck shows where she is going, which adds anticipation. Shot of character being run over adds shock. Close-up of woman covered in blood, then the truck coming closer shows she is feeling relieved. Close-up shots are often used in horror to show how the characters are feeling. Wide shot of the car turning around makes the audience anticipate what is going to happen next. Shot of girl getting in the car and close-up of her face shows relief. Off-screen space adds anticipation to audience because they would think that something is going to jump out. The props are guns. When shooting the werewolf, they're very sudden and loud to make the audience jump, which is a generic convention of a horror film. The makeup makes the characters look sweaty, which makes them look frightened. Lots of blood is used when Jack is being attacked. This is typical gore of horror. Facial expressions show shocked faces and scared faces when they are looking at the off-screen space to add anticipation to the audience. Diegetic sound is used because it's just dialogue, and ambient sounds used to also add suspense because the characters and audience don't know where it's coming from. Low-key lighting is typical of horror, and hard lighting on the faces is to emphasize their emotions. Also, close-up shots to emphasize their emotion as well. Camera panning on mid-shot to show that they are trapped and they can't get out of the situation. Sound gets extremely louder when David falls to make the audience jump. Typical generic convention of a horror. The setting is a dim-lit house. This is a typical generic convention of a horror film.
Don't be a putz, David.
The mirror adds suspense and tension when it turns. This is a typical prop of a horror film. Mickey Mouse waving at David also adds humour, which adds to Jack being even more evil because he's making a joke out of it when David is really scared. The costume on David is typical of horror. It is gory and detailed, and makeup done on Jack to make him look frightened and undead is also a generic convention of a horror film. A sudden loud sound to make audience jump when David turns the mirror and sees Jack in it. This is typical of horror.
What are you doing here? I wanted to see you.
Low-key lighting every time Jack is in shot makes him look even more evil, and high-key lighting when David is in shot makes him look good, but weak compared to Jack. This is in the reverse shot reverse and is also binary opposite. Close-up shots on David and Jack show their emotions. Close-up on David's scars make them look important. The setting is a police interviewing room and an old house, which is typical of horror because of the dark lighting. The camera adds anticipation and suspense to the audience because they are wondering what the woman is looking at on it. This is typical of horror because a lot of suspense and anticipation is used. Also, a torch is often used in a horror film because usually horrors are in low-key lighting and torches are used in the dark. The woman and man look very hot and sweaty to make them look terrified. This makes the audience scared, and that is what horrors are designed to do. The woman looks anxious, whereas police officer looks calm and cool even though you can't see his face. The family looks shocked and scared, and their body language is anxious. This makes audiences scared because that's what horrors are meant to do.
No, Elise. Oh, no. No.
The camera slowly zooms in to add tension. This is a typical of a horror film.
Why are you looking at me?
The man has low-key lighting on him with defined shadows to make him look intimidating. A woman has high-key lighting on her to make her look weak. These are binary opposites. The setting is an old wooden house at night, which is an isolated setting and is a typical generic convention of a horror film. Off-screen space is used when the little boy is looking at his wardrobe. This is because it adds anticipation to the audience because they are wondering what he is looking at, and also it adds tension because the audience are ready for something to jump out. The prop is a wardrobe, which is often used in horror films because anything can jump out of a wardrobe. The makeup of the girl looks very white and the eyes and the mouth are very dark. This adds contrast on her face and makes her look very scary. The wardrobe creaking open is typical of horror. The screeching loud noise as the girl comes out of the wardrobe and walks to the other side of the room is typical of horror because it's gone from dead silence to screeching loud noise back to silence again. This makes the audience jump. Low-key lighting is typical of horror